The first time Daniel Harper took his shirt off in front of his boss, he almost backed out. Not because of the scars that cut pale lines across his ribs from an accident years ago. Not because of the soft curve of a body shaped more by night shifts and drive-through dinners than by gym memberships. But because standing at the edge of that private country club pool, beneath strings of white lights, and the curious stares of executives, who earned in bonuses what he made in a year, he felt small. And Daniel Harper had spent the last 8 years trying not to feel small. It had started as a joke. 5 laps, Claire Whitmore had said, laughter dancing in her voice as the company's summer celebration drifted into the warm July evening. Loser buys drinks for the whole team. Claire was the CEO of Whitmore Logistics, one of the fastest-growing shipping firms in the Midwest. At 39, she was sharp, composed, and known for outworking everyone in the room. She'd built the company after graduating from the University of Pennsylvania, and business magazines loved calling her relentless. Daniel worked in warehouse operations. He fixed inventory errors, trained new hires, and picked up extra shifts when someone called in sick. He'd been promoted to shift supervisor the year before, mostly because he was dependable. Dependable didn't get magazine covers. Dependable kept the lights on. When Claire challenged him, it was after he'd made an offhand comment about swimming in high school. "You?" she teased lightly. "You think you could beat me?" There was no cruelty in her tone, just playful confidence. The crowd gathered quickly. Executives with rolled-up sleeves, managers holding plastic cups of beer, a few interns recording on their phones. Daniel should have laughed it off. He thought of his daughter instead. Lily was 9. She loved swimming but was afraid of diving into the deep end. "It looks scarier than it is," he always told her. "Sometimes you just jump." So he shrugged. 5 laps, he agreed. The water was colder than he expected. The first lap was easy. Muscle memory from a decade ago carried him forward. By the third, his lungs burned. Claire was strong. Smooth, efficient strokes slicing cleanly through the water. By the fourth, the crowd was shouting. By the fifth, Daniel couldn't feel his arms. They touched the edge almost at the same time, but Claire's hand hit a fraction of a second first. Cheers erupted. Claire pushed wet hair from her face, grinning. "Drinks are on you, Harper." Daniel laughed, breathless. "Fair's fair." It should have ended there. But Claire noticed something. When the cheering faded and people drifted back toward the patio bar, Daniel didn't head for the drinks table. He stepped aside, pulling on his worn polo shirt, glancing at his phone. His expression changed when he saw whatever was on the screen. Concern, tight and immediate. Claire excused herself from a conversation and walked over. "Everything okay?" Daniel locked his phone too quickly. "Yeah, just my daughter." Claire nodded politely. She knew he was a single dad. HR files made that clear, but she'd never asked much beyond that. "She sick?" she pressed. He hesitated. And that was when Claire realized something she hadn't noticed before. Daniel Harper didn't hesitate in meetings. Didn't hesitate when forklifts malfunctioned or when shipments were delayed. He was steady. This hesitation came from somewhere else. "She needs a minor procedure," he said finally. "Nothing life-threatening, just not covered fully by insurance." Claire felt the air shift. "And the drinks?" she asked gently. He gave a small, embarrassed smile. "I'll cover them. Might just need to pick up some extra shifts." "How much?" she asked. He stiffened. "I'm not asking for help." "I didn't say you were." He studied her face, as if measuring whether she was serious or just being polite. $4,000, he said quietly. After insurance, $4,000. Claire had once spent that on a handbag she barely used. The number landed heavier than she expected. Without thinking, she said, "Double or nothing." Daniel blinked. "What?" "One more race," she said. "Tomorrow morning, just us. If you win, I'll cover the procedure." He shook his head immediately. "I can't. If I win," she added calmly. "You don't owe me drinks." "You don't owe me anything. It's just a race." He stared at the pool. "Why?" he asked. Claire didn't have a good answer. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe curiosity. Maybe something about the way he'd said not, life-threatening, but still looked terrified. "Because I want to," she said simply. The next morning, the pool was quiet. No audience, no music, just the soft ripple of water and the early sun stretching across the tiles. Daniel arrived first. He hadn't told Lily. He didn't want her hoping. Claire stepped out of the clubhouse in a simple black one-piece, hair tied back, expression unreadable. "You sure?" she asked. Daniel nodded. They slid into the water. "5 laps," she said. This time, there was no cheering, only breath. Splash, stroke. Daniel pushed harder than he had the night before. He thought of Lily's small hands gripping the edge of the kiddie pool, of her brave smile when doctors used big words. By the 3rd lap, his shoulders screamed. By the 4th, Claire pulled ahead. By the 5th, she was clearly winning. Daniel saw it. He saw the distance. He could have quit. Instead, he swam. Not to win, just to finish. Claire touched the wall first again. Silence settled over the pool. Daniel reached the edge seconds later, chest heaving. He waited for the polite smile, the good effort. Instead, Claire held on to the pool's edge and looked at him carefully. "You didn't slow down," she said. He frowned. "Why would I? You knew you were losing." He shrugged, water dripping from his hair. "My daughter watches everything I do, even when she's not there." The words hit Claire like cold water. "My dad used to quit things," Daniel added quietly, "when it got hard. I promised myself she wouldn't see that from me." Claire looked away first. She had grown up with money, with private tutors and summer homes. Failure had been an inconvenience, not a survival issue. "You lost," she said finally. "I know." She climbed out of the pool and grabbed a towel. Daniel followed. When he reached for his shirt, Claire said, "You still get the 4,000. He froze. That wasn't the deal. "I know." "I didn't win." "I know." He shook his head. "I don't want charity." Claire stepped closer, her voice steady. "It's not charity." "Then what is it?" She took a breath. "It's an investment." He stared at her, confused. "In an employee who shows up, who doesn't quit, who works extra shifts without being asked, who cares more about teaching his daughter resilience than protecting his pride." She paused. "And maybe," she added softly, "it's an investment in becoming the kind of leader I say I am." Daniel's jaw tightened. Pride wrestled with relief across his face. "You don't owe me anything," Claire continued. "No extra hours. No loyalty beyond what you already give. Let me do this." He looked at the water, then back at her. "What if I want something else instead?" he asked. Claire blinked. "Like what?" "Use the money," he said slowly, "but not just for Lily." She folded her arms. "Go on." "There are 3 guys in the warehouse who don't have insurance at all," Daniel said. "One's got a son with asthma. Another's wife is pregnant. If you're serious about investing, maybe we start there." Claire didn't speak. He rushed on. "Cover Lily's procedure, but set up something for the hourly staff, even a small medical fund, so they don't have to race their boss to afford a doctor." The morning felt very still. Claire had expected gratitude, maybe tears. Not this. "You'd split it?" she asked quietly. He nodded. "I'll figure out the rest." "I always do." For the first time in a long time, Claire Whitmore felt ashamed. Not because she had money, but because she had never thought to use it like that. "Done," she said, and she meant it. 3 months later, Whitmore Logistics launched the Harper Fund, a medical assistance program for hourly employees and their families. Claire matched every dollar employees contributed. Business magazines wrote about it. Investors praised it. But the real change happened quietly. In hospital waiting rooms where parents no longer counted coins. In warehouse break rooms where fear softened into hope. Lily's procedure went smoothly. The day she came home, Daniel carried her up the narrow stairs to their apartment, careful not to bump her leg. "Did you win the race, Daddy?" she asked sleepily. He smiled. "Not exactly." She frowned. "Then how did we pay for the doctor?" Daniel kissed her forehead. "Sometimes," he said, "you don't win by touching the wall first." Across town, Claire stood in her office overlooking the city skyline. The glass reflected a woman who still worked relentlessly, but now for something bigger than quarterly growth. She picked up her phone and drafted an email to the executive team. Subject line, Expanding Employee Benefits Initiative. As she typed, she thought of a tired man at the edge of a pool, swimming hard even when no one was watching, and she realized something she hadn't understood before. Strength isn't always about winning. Sometimes it's about refusing to quit. Sometimes it's about asking for others when you could ask for yourself. And sometimes the bravest dive isn't into water at all. It's into the deep end of your own humanity.